What if your next big opportunity isn't a job you find, but a business you build? What if the resources around us, the ideas in our heads, and the problems we face every day could actually become the starting point of something bigger? Today, entrepreneurship is changing the way young people think about their future. And here in Arunachal Pradesh, we are beginning to see that change too. But starting a business isn't easy. Where do we start? Where does the money come from? How do you find your market? And how importantly, how do you turn an idea into something that actually works? We are putting those questions on the table today. In this episode of What's Up Arunachal, a joint presentation of DD Arun Prabha and Akashvani Itanagar, we have with us Nima Sona, founder of Any Organics, and Manish Mall, startup manager at Arunachal Pradesh Innovation and Investment Park, APIIP. Two different perspectives, one big question. Can Arunachal become a place where young people don't just look for opportunities but create them? Before moving ahead, let's look at what is APIIP and its mandate.
हर बड़े बदलाव की शुरुआत एक छोटे से विचार से होती है। जब उस विचार को सही अवसर और उचित सहयोग मिलता है, तो वही एक सफल स्टार्टअप का रूप ले सकता है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश में ऐसे ही इनोवेशन और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप को बढ़ावा देने का काम कर रहा है अरुणाचल प्रदेश इनोवेशन एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट पार्क, APIIP। अगस्त 2021 में स्थापित APIIP अरुणाचल प्रदेश का पहला स्टेट ऑन्ड प्रमुख इनक्यूबेटर है। इसका उद्देश्य इनोवेशन को बढ़ावा देना और राज्य में एक मजबूत स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम विकसित करना है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश स्टार्टअप पॉलिसी 20 जून 2022 को अधिसूचित की गई। इसका लक्ष्य राज्य में कम से कम 250 स्टार्टअप्स को बढ़ावा देना, इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर विकसित करना, इन्वेस्टमेंट आकर्षित करना और रोजगार के अवसर बढ़ाना है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम यानी APDP के माध्यम से स्टार्टअप्स को ग्रांट, ट्रेनिंग, बूट कैंप, वर्कशॉप, मेंटरशिप और नेटवर्किंग जैसी सुविधाएं दी जाती हैं। अब तक इसके 4 चरण पूरे हो चुके हैं और 156 स्टार्टअप्स को सरकारी सहायता मिली है। APIIP ने राज्य के साथ हायर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूशंस के साथ MOU किए हैं। इनके माध्यम से सैटेलाइट इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स विकसित किए जा रहे हैं ताकि विद्यार्थी और युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स अपने आइडिया को सफल बिजनेस में बदल सकें। APIIP से जुड़े स्टार्टअप्स ने शार्क टैंक इंडिया, G20 यूनिवर्सिटी कनेक्ट और स्टार्टअप इंडिया जैसे प्रमुख प्रोग्राम्स में भाग लेकर राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर अपनी पहचान बनाई है। अरुणाचल प्रदेश को स्टेट्स स्टार्टअप रैंकिंग के 5वें संस्करण में बेस्ट परफॉर्मर कैटेगरी में स्थान मिला, जबकि APIIP को वर्ष 2023 में स्टेट गोल्ड मेडल से सम्मानित किया गया, क्योंकि लक्ष्य केवल स्टार्टअप बना।
Thank you so much for for that you took out your time and you came for our conversation. Before moving towards Manish sir, I would love to know from Nima. Nima, you have been part of APIIP. In fact, you are one of the beneficiaries.
Yes.
So we'll talk on that, of course. But I would love to know your journey on Any Organics and the point where you felt ki, nahi, I need to do something, and I am that capable enough to produce some products. Could you take us through that journey?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your opportunity. My name is Mr. Nima Sona. I'm the founder and CEO of Any Organics. So, when you ask about my journey, my entrepreneurial journey started way back in 2014 when I was in Delhi. And the experience-wise, we are into agribusiness last 5 years. And we do have our own farmers, where we cultivate organic farmings as well as basically agro business we do with that. And experience wise, it's been more than 5 years now, and I started up in their company, and then there I have worked around 3.5 years. After that I left to US company, and there I have worked till 2019. So after coming back, when it we have faced the COVID-19, that was the turning point of my journey, and then I came back to start my own venture. We have incorporated our company in 2021, and I'm the second cohort of APIIP. And with that, it's my little introduction.
That's a wonderful journey. Manisa, when you look at the company, startups like Any Organics, what are the things that you look for in a startup that is applying for API IP? Because the process lamba hota hai, there is a selection process that goes on. The elements that you look into a startup, social impact, or what API IP look for generally?
Okay, first of all, let me take this opportunity for inviting me here and allowing me to talk on behalf of API IP. When we are evaluating entrepreneurs or startups or their business ideas, right, we try to look into three important elements. One of the most important element is innovation, right? What is the new element? What is the problem that the business idea is catering to, right? Second is what potential that idea has in terms of scalability, right? Does that idea really have a commercial potential? And third important element that we look at is the kind of impact that it is going to make in the society. It can be social impact, it can be economic impact, right? There are of course other elements also that API IP looks into while evaluating business idea, but everything revolves around these three core elements, I would say.
That's interesting. Yeah, so let's move on to the aspect of what can we do with the resources that we have in Arunachal. I think we went through it before. So Nima and both of you can chip into it. When we talk about Arunachal, it has a tremendous potential when we talk in the agricultural wise and natural resource, and Any Organics is one of the example. So Nima, when you talk about when we talk about local produce, so how do you connect to the local farmer to the market? Could you run through that process? And also, how do you decide which product has the potential to become a successful commercial product?
Well, when it comes to an agribusiness, especially in Arunachal Pradesh, my entire journey has been into agriculture, and it's been 5 years of experience. When I look back and see what is the potential for Arunachal Pradesh, I feel there are many dimensions that we can talk, and one part we are into agriculture, but there are many aspects there our entrepreneurs should look forward and do some innovations apart from only on agriculture. But it is not limited to that. We can work on tourism, we can look on environmental issues, we can look on mobility, because mobility is a big concern for our state. As we all know that we are facing a lot of challenges when it comes to transportations, and our students and innovators can work on many environmental issues, like there are earthquakes. We have very much worried about the future of Arunachal Pradesh, and natural disasters. These are the aspects that one should look, and they should look forward to have some innovation in that kind of venture. And when it comes to an agriculture, if I go back to my own business field, we basically work with the farmers, and that too with self-help group and farmer producer company, where we engage with the farmers with not just producing the product, but we help them, we support them in terms of technical support, in terms of biofertilizers, vermicompost, the way we are saying that organic produce from Arunachal Pradesh, and we are much more promoting the GI products and the organic certification products. So these are the major sector we are into, and we are into grains especially, we are into herbs, and we are into spices. These are the three main sectors that we are working with, and currently we are serving 1700 plus farmers across the Arunachal Pradesh.
That's amazing.
And we are also promoting not only in Arunachal Pradesh, the entire northeast, as well as we are promoting through our e-commerce to the pan India. That is the little bit of my business idea.
So 1700 farmers Arunachal से है या तो entire northeast से है?
Yeah, this is from Arunachal only.
That's interesting data, actually.
We have 1700 farmers from Arunachal Pradesh and 52 farmers from Nagaland, and we are targeting 250 farmers from Sikkim this year. So this is how we are expanding our business to the across the northeast, and eventually we will be promoting this business to the entire pan India.
Wow, that's
our
amazing.
vision.
So Manish sir, when an entrepreneur or let's say an individual comes to APIIP with a local product, what makes APIIP believe that कि नहीं ये product चलेगा? It looks viable for the business.
Okay. Now let's consider a situation, right?
Yeah.
How do you create sustainable businesses, right? XYZ person has a product, but how do you validate that business would be successful, right? Now the ideal way to access any business, whether it would be sustainable or not, is to first find out a problem statement, and this is something that we suggest to all the aspiring entrepreneurs, right? You need to first identify a problem statement. What is the problem? And it can be within a geography, right? It can be within the borders of a state. It can be a pan-India problem or global problem, right? Try to identify what is the problem. Then try to build a solution around it, right? Come up with a solution, right? And see if that solution that you have found out for the problem, right? If that can be scaled up. This 3-step would make sure that, you know, your business would become viable. Let's understand this, right? You should never create a product and try to push that in the market. Rather, you should identify what is the current demand in the market, or what is that the customer needs. Once you are able to create that product or services, then you should try to validate that with the customer. And once you are able to do that, you know, let me tell you that you know, you will be able to create a very viable business. You know, all the big businesses are created around these elements only.
Yes, that's very true. I think it's very important to understand those system and how this entire ecosystem works, right? Now, getting into this, like we'll talk around these area a little bit more. यहाँ पे generally product तो बन जाता है, but taking that product beyond the borders, it's one of the biggest challenge the entrepreneurs here are facing. So I would love to know from both of you, like some tips, like how products in Arunachal can be competent enough to compete outside the state.
Right. So maybe I'll take that question first.
After
right?
that.
Yeah. So from an incubator perspective, right?
Yes.
How do you compete in the market, right? Now, first of all, as I have mentioned, right, you need to create a product or services that the customer wants, right? Along with that, you need to back it up with a very good branding and packaging, right? You need to have a USP, an innovative element to it, right? That is something which is not available in the market, right? At the same time, if your product is catering to the demand of the customer, right, it can go beyond the boundary of the state. So the point that I'm trying to make here is, right, when you create something that the customer wants or that the market wants, right, everyone will purchase it, right? Now, specifically when you have spoken about selling it or going outside the state boundaries, right? From an incubator perspective, this is something that APIIP does, right? We provide market linkages to these entrepreneurs, including Nima also, wherein, you know, we take them and, you know, we participate in different events that's being organized across the country. At the same time, we also do investor connect networking sessions with the customers outside. We kind of handhold them and, you know, give them an opportunity to do networking with the people outside the state as well.
Nima, would you like to?
Yes, of course. In addition to that, what our manager has said, I think to create a, you know, I mean, the product which can represent to the entire world, actually. Arunachal Pradesh has something which we can offer to the world, and especially when it comes to an agri product. So first and foremost, whatever we produce, the authenticity of the product is much more required.
Yeah.
And the way you create a value to your end consumer is the main concern. When you create a value to end consumer, your product does so many things. It can eventually go beyond your limitations. And of course, the branding is also one aspect that one should look when it comes to a business. So journey with us, how we create a product which can represent to the entire India. So you have to find a niche product which will definitely create a USP in your business. What is your unique point, selling point, which we call unique value propositions. These are the required. When you find, when you analyze, when you discover, when you invent some product, that you should aware that this product can solve a problem of an end consumer. That is very, very important. And we do have lot of agro products, whether it may be in grains, whether it may be in herbs and in spices. Moreover, we do have amples of horticulture products that we can create a very quality products, because the market demand is totally depend on the quality nowadays. People are much more concerned about their health. So if you worked on those products, it will definitely going to create a big impact, not only in your business but for the consumer. So we should be very conscious towards the consumer behavior, how they look at your product and what you create a value to them. That is something, it's very, very important when it comes to a product which can represent the entire India.
That's very important point, talking about the USP, finding the USP matter. Let's have a brief insights on the budget allocation of startup and entrepreneurship.
अरुणाचल प्रदेश बजट 2026 से 27 में उद्यमिता और रोजगार को प्रमुख प्राथमिकता दी गई है। इसका उद्देश्य युवाओं को सशक्त बनाना, नए अवसर पैदा करना और राज्य में रोजगार के दायरे को बढ़ाना है। दीनदयाल उपाध्याय स्वावलंबन योजना के लिए 200 करोड़ रुपए का प्रावधान किया गया है। इस पहल के माध्यम से 2500 से अधिक लाभार्थियों को सहायता देकर नए उद्यमों को प्रोत्साहित किया जाएगा। स्टार्टअप संस्कृति को मजबूत करने के लिए अरुणाचल प्रदेश स्टार्टअप मंच का प्रस्ताव रखा गया है। यह मंच उद्यमियों को मार्गदर्शन, नेटवर्किंग और सहयोग के अवसर उपलब्ध कराएगा। उद्यमिता विकास कार्यक्रम 4.0 के तहत स्टार्टअप की संख्या और सीड फंडिंग सहायता को दोगुना करने का लक्ष्य रखा गया है। इससे नवाचार और नए व्यावसायिक विचारों को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। अरुण MSME मिशन के माध्यम से सूक्ष्म, लघु और मध्यम उद्यमों को सशक्त बनाया जाएगा। ये पहले स्थानीय उद्योगों को मजबूती देने और उद्यमिता को प्रोत्साहित करने में सहायक होगी। वन डिस्ट्रिक्ट वन प्रोडक्ट पहल के तहत प्रत्येक जिले के विशेष उत्पादों को बढ़ावा दिया जाएगा। इसका उद्देश्य मूल्य संवर्धन और बेहतर बाजार उपलब्ध कराकर स्थानीय अर्थव्यवस्था को मजबूत बनाना है। इन सभी पहलों का उद्देश्य उद्यमिता को बढ़ावा देना, स्वरोजगार के अवसर बढ़ाना और राज्य के आर्थिक विकास को गति देना है। ये बजट आत्मनिर्भर और विकसित अरुणाचल की दिशा में एक महत्वपूर्ण कदम है।
So we talk about the product and APIIP में बहुत सारा स्टार्टअप अप्लाई भी कर रहा है। जब भी लिस्ट आउट होता है गवर्नमेंट से कि इतना फंडिंग होगा, कंपटीशन शुरू हो रहा है। So we have product, we have entrepreneurs. So what is the limitation according to your observation that we can do better, the government or let's say even individuals on their mindset level? क्या करने से और improvement आ सकता है? Can you delve us into it?
Sure. So let's understand this, right? The challenge is not that people do not have good ideas or talent is not at all an issue in our people, right? Our people, they are very talented and the kind of ideas that we get is absolutely fantastic. That is not a challenge. The main challenge is to give them the right kind of direction in terms of mentorship, in terms of market access, in terms of business literacy, right? In terms of creating the necessary infrastructure for them, right? These are the bigger challenges, right? We need to create a startup ecosystem where person from Arunachal, right, a youth from Arunachal should be able to create a product which is locally developed, and slowly he should be able to get into the market, and gradually he should understand the market and modify it according to the demand of the local market or the national market or maybe global market, right? We have to create that ecosystem, that mechanism.
Yes, on an infrastructural level basically, that we spoke last time.
Right.
Yes. So Nima, would you tell us your experience ki major challenges क्या face करना पड़ता है for an entrepreneur bringing your product out there?
Yes. Entrepreneur has to go through a lot of challenges, of course. Entrepreneurs build not within a week or month. It takes time.
Yes, that's very true.
When it comes to an entrepreneurship journey, a journey begins with a lot of challenge. That is absolutely, I agree with that. But today the time has come. As an entrepreneur, you should have a big vision, and you should have to have a mindset which will create and which will drive you all day and in and out. And one should know when they do some business or they want to become an entrepreneur, the concept of entrepreneur and entrepreneurship has changed. We are living in 21st century, and the 21st century's business has totally changed. We cannot depend on the government subsidy and government grant.
Very true.
If you ask me what is my personal experience in throughout the journey, we are not at the beginning. We have started. Our startup is a bootstrap startup. We have funded by ourselves, not by the government. And today we have to give a reflection back to the government also. Why should, as an entrepreneur, should run behind the government? Rather, government should run behind us. And one should not focus only on the subsidy or maybe government's grant, rather to create a foundation before you going for a venture fund or maybe from some schemes, because it is the time to prove yourself that you are an entrepreneur. When you do some good work, eventually the government will follow you. The government will definitely support, but to making sure that you are capable of doing those things. These are the basic necessities for an entrepreneur. And when it comes to, as you said, the challenges here, of course, what our manager has said, that infrastructure is the main issue. Of course, we can understand there are many challenges which involves throughout the entrepreneurship journey, but it does not mean that you cannot do. You have to manage it. There are lot of solutions out there. We have to find out how to solve that problem. Being an entrepreneur, this is the only things that it will create a venture for you, and you can cater the big business for the world.
Yes, that's really inspiring to listen actually. So Lima, I'm sorry, I'm getting back to you again. If you travel back to your time, right?
Yes.
What would be that one advice that would you like to give who is just starting up their entrepreneurial journey? And on Manish sir, from the perspective of an incubator, what is the one mistake young entrepreneurs should avoid? You both can chip into those questions. One mistake, one advice.
Right. So maybe I'll take that question, Nima, with your permission. Right. So one mistake, or I would say the aspiring entrepreneurs, right? This is a mistake that quite often we see they make, right? They want to create product or services way too quickly, right? Without knowing their customers, without validating their ideas, right? They have an idea and they want to go really big about it, really quick, right? This is a very big mistake that the aspiring entrepreneurs they do, right? As Nima has mentioned, enterprises or big businesses are not built in a day, right? Startups, they need to know that it will take time for them to build a very viable business. They need to take it slow. They need to validate their solutions, their products as much as possible, and build their businesses step by step, right? They should never go very quick. Get their products and services validated as much as possible, get the feedback, keep improving, and build their businesses step by step. This is something that I would advise.
Yeah. So
Yes. From my perspective, all I want to say is, if you really want to become an entrepreneur, and you have a great idea, you have everything's on place, and then you want to do, but one thing is very important, because most of the startups, what I felt is fail because due to lack of course infrastructure is there are many aspects, because to build an entire ecosystem of your business, it doesn't mean it's only confined with money. There are many aspects when you build an ecosystem, when you build your business. You should have a very good leadership skills. You should have to have a system that will run without you, and you should have technology in advance. You should have a marketing expert. You should have good knowledge about the finance. You should have a good knowledge about the productions, because as an entrepreneur you should be all-rounder.
Yes.
We have to work all day in and out. So
Yes.
being an entrepreneur, I think you should be very strong with your mindset, because I feel the mindset is something which will drive you to your vision,
Yes.
to your dreams. Because
very
most of the time when I talk with my colleagues and my fellow entrepreneurs, they have only one challenge, because they don't have a consistency. Perseverance is something which is much more required.
Yes.
And to have a great vision, to have that intention to serve the nation, will definitely take you forward.
Yeah, that's very true actually, what you're saying, that consistency is important, and also a good business cannot be developed अकेला तो नहीं हो पाएगा. It takes a village,
Yes.
a whole arsenal to create a successful business. So when we talk about APIIP, sir, beside the startup challenge, what are the other policies that our entrepreneurs or individuals starting to, aiming to start their business can, come for? Like APIIP के पास और क्या कुछ है they can avail?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's understand this. The government of Arunachal Pradesh already has notified its own startup policy, right, which was notified in the year 2022. Under Arunachal Pradesh startup policy, we have something called as Arunachal Pradesh Seed Fund Scheme. Now this seed fund scheme has been divided into three portions, or rather three parts. One is your ideation grant, ideation support, right? And under this provision, we run the program which is your Arunachal Pradesh Entrepreneurship Development Program, right? Apart from that, under the seed fund scheme, we have something called as innovation fund, right?
Okay.
The startups who have been part of APEDP program or who are APIIP registered startups, they can avail these benefits. Now third fund under the Arunachal Pradesh Seed Fund Scheme is your infrastructure fund, wherein there are provisions where startups can apply for funds like scale up grant, digital upgradation subsidy. So there are lots of avenues, right, under this. But the important elements through your medium, I would like to say this to all our viewers, that any support or any benefit that you want to avail under APIIP, you have to come through the Arunachal Pradesh Entrepreneurship Development Challenge. You need to complete the 9 months of incubation program with APIIP, and then you need to get the state registered startup recognition. Once you have availed this, you have completed the incubation program, you become eligible to apply for the other mechanisms.
I hope the entrepreneurs are noting it down as they're listening it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We have come to the end of our conversation. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Nima. Thank you so much, Manish sir. I hope many have lots more query. मतलब बहुत कुछ चल रहा होगा दिमाग में अभी. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed our conversation, and perhaps you may never know, the next big entrepreneur might be watching us today. Thank you so much for joining with us. Goodbye and take care.
Thank you.